We moved here with the intentions of building facilities and having, a full-on kennel and everything that needs to be done. But since we don't have the funds for it, all the dogs live with us in the house.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So paint that picture. You have you have how many dogs living in the house with you?
26.
26.
Yes, sir.
from the Mad Dog Studios, That's My Dog podcast, the only podcast designated, designed, and directed to making you and your pooch stars. With your host, Lance Craig, I am Ted Cook. Together, well, we're going to unleash the zoomies on you right now. Today's guest has traversed the entire globe in search of passion and heart. She now resides in San Antonio, where her passion and heart are committed to rescuing every stray off the street and beyond. It is impossible for me to encapsulate the level of commitment that this woman has to rescuing these animals. So without further ado, please welcome to the show, Miss Laila McGothern.
We are so excited to have you here. We're so excited to hear your story. And first of all, I would really just love to hear how you got into the work that you're doing with dogs.
All right. Well, I'm so happy to be here. I'm super excited. This is my first time ever doing anything like this. So thank you so much for having me.
You're already a pro, we can tell.
Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. When it's a passion, it's easy to talk about it. So I am married my husband 100 years ago. It feels like now 20 something years ago. And we kind of started this passion together. We came into our relationship with one dog each. And then I always wanted to have a golden retriever. So he surprised me with one of those that we got from a breeder. And then they had puppies. And so we had, at some point, long story short, we had 6 dogs,
Mm.
which was a lot back then. So
Back
we
then.
moved into a new house in Vegas when we lived there. And a stray dog was sitting tied up to a tree across the street. And the neighbor came and asked if we knew where it belonged and what we would do with it. So we took her in, and that was basically our first rescue dog. We later found out that she was a foster from a lady who fostered for the Humane Society who lived across the street in a different direction. So when we found out that's where the dog belonged, we had kind of already bonded with her. So we said that we would take her. So we went over to her house to fill out the paperwork. And there was another little pit bull puppy who stood up and said, "Hey, take me too."
Mm.
So my husband's like, "Okay, I'll take her too." So we walked out of there with 2 new dogs, and then we had 8. And then it literally just became a big, that's our first introduction to the rescue world in Vegas. And then we started getting more involved, and it kind of snowballed from there into where we are today. So
Wow.
How bad's the homeless situation with the dogs in Las Vegas? This is obviously, you know, that where I live, but I'm not really clued in on all the ongoings about the situation here.
So Vegas is bad. However, I thought Vegas was really bad when I lived there, but Vegas has nothing on where I live now. So
Mm.
comparatively, Vegas is bad, but there are worse places. So
I reach out to some of these shelters periodically. I never get a reply. And I know you and I kind of touched on that the other day, but would you just reiterate why they won't respond and kind of the ongoings about the rescue and some of the not so pleasant things that are involved in that?
So we've actually had the same problem. We were not a full-fledged nonprofit when we lived in Vegas, but we were kind of known in the rescue community. And every time dogs would come in, so my husband always wanted to have a Frenchie, and we have decided we're never going to get the Frenchie from a breeder. But they took in a big litter that had been severely abused, and they all had parvo, and there was a lot of negative things going on with those dogs that we weren't even sure that they were going to survive. And he expressed interest in rescuing at least one of those, and he kept going on, calling and emailing, contacting. Nobody got back to him. So I don't know why they do that. I know several people who have said exactly the same thing, that it's very difficult to adopt an animal from certain rescues in Vegas, and we have firsthand experience with that. So we gave up, and we later found out that that puppy died. So
Mm.
it's horrible, really.
Well, speaking of horrible situations, let's go ahead and bring up who was the first one that you sent us the picture of Valentine. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Valentine, if that's okay, Laila.
Absolutely. So Valentine, we lost Valentine last year. She left a massive hole in my heart and in our house. Valentine is a dog that, so if you are involved in rescues and everybody asks, hey, can you share? Please share this dog. Please share this dog. And then you might think that it doesn't work and nothing ever comes of it. But we have rescued probably a good 10, 12 dogs that have been shared on the internet, on Facebook and such.
Wow.
I see them and I can't say what it is, but there's always that one dog that just grabs your heart in a little extra special way. And
Sure.
Valentine was that dog for me. So
Sure.
a friend of mine found her wandering around in the woods of North Carolina in the middle of winter, and she lived there. The dog just joined her on a walk and basically asked to be rescued. So she brought her in, but she couldn't keep
Sure.
her.
Sure.
So she worked as a tour guide, couldn't continue to care for her. So she posted her on Facebook, and I saw her, and my heart just felt like I needed to save her. So,
Right.
long story short, we agreed that she was going to come and live with me in Vegas. And one Sunday morning, we both got up and started driving. She drove from North Carolina. I drove from Vegas. We met in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of a blizzard in Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Wow.
Turned the dog over from her car to my car. We hugged and said goodbye. I was kind of thinking maybe we could meet at a park and we could, get to know each other and see the dog a little bit and, all that.
Right.
But weather was horrible. So literally it was a handover and then we drove back. So it ended up being almost a 3-day drive back and forth for both of us. And so that's the
Oh,
length that we sometimes are willing to go to for a dog. So Valentine came to us, um, lived 10 years with us. She was severely emaciated. She was blind in one eye from an injury, we don't know what, and she had fungus in her sinuses and her lungs. Vet said that she wouldn't have made it another 1 or 2 days out there. She was stuck in the woods. So we took her to Vegas. She became a desert princess and had pizza pool parties and lived happily forever after until she came with us here to Texas. And she lived a really, really great life. She got sick in the end. She ended up with a mass that was growing on her uterus. And
Mm.
so it was inoperable. And so eventually we had to let her go last summer. So that was horrible. But
Oh,
she had 10 amazing years. We think that she was about 1 or 2 when we got her. So she lived a good full life with us.
oh, that's wonderful. And on a side note, it's funny because Lance is in North
Yeah,
Carolina.
Oh,
I
You're-
was about to ask where you got it because I live near Asheville, North Carolina, like the mountainous area.
that's
So
where my friend is.
no
Asheville, North
way.
Carolina. No, for real. Yes.
Wow, that is nuts.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
was a crazy story, and she was very sad to see her go, but she made a sacrifice and decided that she would be better off with us since we could care for her full time. So it ended up being an amazing fit. So she had my heart, and so it was like I saw her on Facebook, and my mood changed, and my attitude was like I was a little grumpy, and I felt bad for her, and my husband picked up on the mood, and he's like, "Well, do you want her? Go get her." So yeah, go get her. So I just went and got her. So that's kind of how it went.
That's
well,
amazing.
where do you see all this heading? You kind of feel bleak about these situations, but where do you see all this heading? Are you trying to get a bigger facility to rescue more animals? What's your long-term plan, Lila?
So actually, we have a facility. Let me put it this way: we have a property. So we moved to Texas about almost 5 years ago. We
Okay.
have 10 acres.
Oh, all right.
So, but we don't have the funds because every time we have funds, there's another dog that needs a surgery or that needs something. So it's the fundraising part of it that makes it difficult. We moved here with the intentions of building facilities and having, a full-on kennel and everything that needs to be done. But since we don't have the funds for it, all the dogs live with us in the house.
Wow.
Uh,
Okay, so paint that picture. You have you have how many dogs living in the house with you?
26.
26.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
See,
Yeah.
the woman that introduced me to Lila, she told me, she said she's got a prodigious amount of dogs. And I think that qualifies.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so it was never it just kind of snowballed, and so um I can't say we never intended it to be this way. We moved to Texas with the intention of getting bigger, but now we're at the point where we're not getting any younger either, right? So it's a
I heard
two-man
that.
operation. It's my husband and I, and so we have to think every time we take in a new dog, especially when you're taking a puppy, you have a 12 to 14, 15-year commitment at least. So, and we don't have, it's just him and I. We both work full-time jobs to support the rescue when fundraising comes short. So I work out of the house. He works from home, which means he is home literally almost 24/7. I have to take him out once a week to to get a break from the dogs.
Wow.
But
Are
other than
you?
that, so we run the operation like this, and we don't have people ask, could you have volunteers? But I mean, we could, but then they would be coming into our home, number one, which I mean, I would be fine with that. But we have so many different characters and backgrounds, and they don't all get along. So there's
Sure.
the security measure of if you forget to close the door between exchanging dogs or moving dogs around, then you can have a fight. So there, it's not an easy house to just bring in volunteers into for that reason as well. So right now it's a two-man operation, and we feel like 26 is our limit, but who knows?
Mm.
Well, let's address the fundraising. Are you guys a 501c3?
Yes, we are.
Oh, you are. Okay.
Yes, we are.
So is it really hard to raise funds in this space?
So it is for a variety of reasons, right? So the rescue community, those of us who are passionate and full-time in this situation, there's so many rescues to donate to, right? So people have
Yeah,
choices. People are doing what those who are supporting us, they are amazing. But there's only so many, and there's always rescues all the time who ask for money. And then there's the skepticism because there's always people wondering, what do you really do with the funds? Are they
Sure.
being put in the right direction? Are you really upfront with what's happening? So you have people who are kind of deterred from giving because they don't necessarily trust you.
right.
Yeah.
And can we real quick, if people want to donate to you, reach out to you, how can they do that, Lila?
So we don't have a website. We have a Facebook page. So if they go to
Okay.
Paws Vegas Animal Rescue at Star Ranch, that is our Facebook page. There's a
Okay.
donate button there, and then we also have Venmo and PayPal and Zelle. So all of
All
And
that is
right.
listed on the
All right.
Facebook page as
It
well if
is.
they do want to donate.
and we will
Yeah,
make sure that all those links, all of that stuff is in the description of this
perfect.
video so that people can easily get to you guys' stuff.
We do
Absolutely.
appreciate that. And when it comes to donations, I mean, there has been, I know in Vegas, there has been rescues accused of misappropriating funds and so on and so forth. So I always try to, my books are open. We have no secrets. I post the vet bills every time I go to the vet so people know how much this dog cost. Um, I try to be, we try to run the rescue in a fun way, where I post happy puppies doing happy things. But at the
Yeah.
same time, there is a reality of it as well, and that is money. And so
Right.
I remember at one point somebody came up and asked me, they're like, "Oh, there's got to be a lot of money in dog rescue." And I just looked at him like, "Are you crazy? It's like putting $100 bills in a barrel and lighting it all on fire.
Oh
There is
no.
no money in dog rescue. It's and they say, oh, your food bill must be astronomical, but the food is just a nothing. If I all I had to pay for was food, it's nothing. It's the vet bills.
Mm.
So reality is you take in a dog from the streets, and when by the time they have all their shots, they have heartworm prevention, which is a big thing here. You need to give your dogs heartworm prevention when you live in a state like Texas. And often they need spaying and neutering. You're looking at $800 to $1,000 just right in the door, and that's
Right.
before not even addressing any other issues that they may have.
So I would love to know. So you're originally from Norway, and I
Yes.
would love to know the difference between uh, there and here when it comes to pet ownership. What stray animals like? What's the difference between Norway and the States?
So I grew up in Norway. I lived there till I was about 15 years old. I had pets my whole life. I had rabbits and cats and dogs and horse. I had a horse actually, and lived in. When I was 15, my family moved to Sweden, which is very similar to Norway. So I kind of had my young adult years in Sweden, and when I was 25, I moved to Vegas. So my entire time of growing up in Scandinavia, it was people who have animals there. They have them because they want to care for them. They want to make them a part of their family. I'm not saying that goes for every single person, but it is the standard for people who live there. The animal's quality of life is important to people. They uh, they make them a part of the family. There are actually
Right.
laws that governs that you cannot actually leave a dog at home alone for less than, I want to say, I think it's like 4 hours or for
It's
more than four
actually
hours.
it's actually 6 hours in
Is it six
Sweden.
hours? Okay. All
Yeah.
Wow.
right. So you know
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I
so that means you have to have a dog sitter, or you have to have a solution. You have to have somebody that comes home. If you're caught, you can get penalized. I mean, I'm not saying everybody gets caught, but you have to have a solution for your animal if you if you have an animal. You can't leave them home by themselves all day while you go to work.
I just got to think, I'm thinking we need to move to Sweden because I love that premise.
I think it's a great law, but I mean I understand that it makes it very difficult for some people to actually have an animal too, if that's the rule, right? So
Then it's
here,
then it's bring your dog to work day all the time.
yeah, exactly. So here, on the other hand, I feel like again, especially living in Texas, I live in the country now. So to be honest, I mean, people just have. My neighbor has dogs that he never lets in the house.
Mm.
He flat out said so. And we had a freeze here it was a short freeze, but it was lasted for about a week, where temperatures went down in the low 20s overnight, and the dogs have to stay outside. So my philosophy is very simple. It's if it's cold for you to be outside, it's going to be cold for them, right? So, and you have the opposite with the heat, which is very similar to Vegas as well. It's very hot in the summertime, and if it's hot for you, it's hot for them. So why not bring them in and allow them to enjoy, you know, cooler temperatures in the summer and hotter
Right.
temperatures in the winter? It's I think it's animal cruelty. So
Agreed.
it's a
Yeah.
different philosophy altogether that I'll never understand.
Yeah, I feel like so I grew up like in the South here in the United
Mhm.
States, and I feel like yeah, I've seen so many people who have dogs that they just keep them chained up, they keep them in
Right.
pens all the
Yes.
time, and these dogs end up getting out and they end up causing all kinds of trouble. And of course they
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
They've been pinned up.
Right.
They've been you know
Yeah.
they need exercise. They need to see new things. They need protection from the elements. And
Mhm.
yeah, it again yeah. If we're hot, they're hot. If we're
Yeah.
cold, they're cold. Yeah, I think that is um, definitely an issue.
So what you just said now, that is kind of like my go-to statement, protection from the elements. I say
Mm,
that all the time. I put that all the time in my posts whenever I say something. You have to protect your dogs from your animals from the elements.
yeah.
And something I believe I mentioned that to you, Ted, previously when we talked. Uh, I want to say 9 out of 10 times when I'm out driving to go to work, for example, I see at least one or two dead dogs on the side of the road, for real. And for me, that was a culture shock coming from Vegas into that. So now, whenever I go back to Vegas, or even when I go to Sweden and Norway, I look, it's like my eyes automatically are drawn to it. My
Mm,
husband tells me not to look. He's like, please just try not to. But for me, I have to look, because I have to
No.
also, I'm looking for sign of life. So to see if they
Right.
were just hit, and if they're still maybe breathing, but they can't get up. So I scout for that all day long when I'm driving. I look for those animals, because inevitably I'll see one or two every single day, maybe 9 out of 10 times when I'm out driving, and it's heartbreaking.
it
I'll
is.
never get used to it, ever.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of heartbreaking, let's go ahead and talk about another rescue, Gabby.
Gabby. Gabby is such a baby. Oh my goodness, I love her so much. Gabby is still with us. Gabby is she was actually found in North Las Vegas by a rescue friend of mine, who brought her. She called animal control. They came and picked her up, but then she was brought into a home for
Hmm.
Spot, which is a local Vegas rescue. And she is I think she's like a Dogo Bordeaux mix with some Great Dane or something like that. She's a bright red dog. She weighed 25 pounds when they took her off the street. I believe I sent you some pictures of the before and
Mm,
after. She was
And we're posting
skin
those as,
and
yeah,
bones. Like,
yeah.
oh, she looked like a skeleton held together by the fur around her body. She was taken in, was given care. So important thing when you have a dog who's so emaciated, people want to just throw all kinds of food at them, but you have to be very careful and feed them slowly, so that they don't have a negative and adverse reaction to too much food at the same time. So she was left in the hospital for, I want to say, I think 3, 4 days. She's another one I saw on Facebook, and my heart dropped, and I knew that we had to be the ones to help her. So we actually
Now,
ended up adopting her, and she came to live with us, and now she weighs 107 pounds.
she's very
wow.
healthy.
She's huge.
Yeah.
Whoa. She
She's
went
huge.
from 26 pounds to 107 pounds.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
So she
Over
was a
what
younger
course of
puppy, I
time?
believe, when we got her. So, she ended up she was probably about 95 or so when we moved to Vegas, and now she's about 107. So but she's a healthy weight. She's not
Yeah.
fat or anything like that.
Mm,
Right.
But we have the room for them to run and play here as well, so they get the exercise, and due to the size of our property. But she was a younger dog, so I think she was a puppy. She wasn't fully grown when we picked her up, so she had some growing to do, but she was still underweight by probably 40, 50 pounds when we got her. So she weighed a third of what she should have weighed.
Wow.
Mm.
Well, we
Yeah.
were talking earlier about people having many options to donate to. How do we look out for the scams, Lila? How do we look out for people who aren't really running a legitimate shelter or rescue? How can we, decipher between who's legitimate and who's not? Or can we?
That's, no, I was just going to say that's a very, very good question. I don't know if it would depend on if the rescue is willing and forthcoming to open up their books. If they for scrutiny, if anybody wants to look at the books, we can certainly do that. If anybody wants to look at ours. On the other hand, what I always do is I follow my guts. I really do. I
Yeah.
follow when I find a rescue, when I see their work. There has been rescues we have donated to in the past that we stopped because
Mm.
we got this weird feeling about it and we thought, this doesn't feel good anymore. And then we
Okay.
stop. And then we redirect our funds to other places where we just have a connection, where we feel that there is transparency, where we feel that people are forthcoming, where we and for me, honestly, it's the gut feeling.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really
Because
what a
it's
lot of us
difficult.
are
How
left
do
with.
you really know? I mean, how can you know unless you have full access to everything that goes in and goes out and goes out? You don't know. How do you really know? Again, it's a gut feeling for me, and I feel
Yeah.
like you if you I'm a very private person. Believe it or not, I'm very outgoing and open, but I am technically a very private person, so I probably wouldn't be on social media if it wasn't for the dogs. But we need that presence in order to fundraise. And when I do post, I am transparent. I try to keep it lighthearted, like I said before, good and
Sure.
happy and lighthearted, but there's a reality. So I post the sad. I post, so like just the other day, I was out playing with one of my dogs and she rolled over on her back and opened her mouth and smiling big, and I see a mass growing at the bottom of her
Oh.
jaw. And so my heart sank into my stomach and I just felt, oh my goodness, what is this? And so we had to take her to the vet. She has surgery coming up on Wednesday to get that mass removed. It looks horrible. I hate to think it's cancer. I'm praying to God it's not. But these are the twists and the turns, right? So we try to keep it happy, but then there is that reality that a happy, playful moment turned into something that I've been carrying with me now for 4 or 5 days, and it's weighing me down because I don't know what the outcome of that's going to be. She's 5-year-old little girl who should have a good long life ahead of her. So, and when I post these stories, I posted it with the vet bill with the estimate. It's going to be a $1,300 estimate for her surgery to get the removal and to get the biopsy, and that's the sad, hard reality. Not just a rescue, but having any dog. But I tried to be transparent, and then I posted, a picture of the bill, what's coming up, and tried to fundraise on that. And hopefully people can resonate with that and understand that I'm not going on luxury cruises with the money that you're donating, but it's going straight to the
Right.
dogs.
Mm.
Right. Any tips for raising money in this space?
So honestly, we're amateurs when it comes to that. I know that there are a lot of people who have said that you can go. So I know that you can technically go after big businesses, for example, because a lot of them have charitable budgets.
You
We
got to
haven't
catch
done
them at the
that.
right, you got to catch them at the right time. A lot of times their end of the year is the middle of the year. So
Right, this
keep
is
that in
true.
mind.
And then it's also about having the time. We run a rescue with 26 dogs, two of us, and we work full-time jobs and we try to live and breathe in between. So
So
there
you're either going to
isn't a lot
fundraise or
of
you're going to
time.
raise the dogs. You can't do all of it simultaneously. It's
It is
impossible.
a little tricky sometimes, honestly, it really is. But so we fundraise on Facebook with the following we have. It's not a big following, but so far we have had very faithful, loyal people who carries us through by the grace of God. Like just miracles happen and we manage.
So I wanted to touch on something that you said earlier about just the emotional investment that goes into taking these animals in. Like it says, well, I mean, it says a lot about you and your husband that you're willing to do this. And that's the thing I don't feel like people really understand when they're bringing pets into their lives. They're not just bringing they're, it's not like they're buying a new TV or they're bringing in like a new piece of furniture. Like this is a living, breathing being with emotions and who has needs. Um, and I don't know. I feel like it's important that we draw some attention to that not only is this work that you're doing, like you're meeting practical needs, but you're also affected emotionally by this too.
So you're not kidding. The emotions are everything, and the emotions sometimes get the best of me. I
Sure.
think my husband is better at he is just as emotional as I am, but he's better at maybe controlling his emotions than I am, because I go all in sometimes, and it becomes it's going to become the death of me one day, because I feel so much, and it's hard not to, right? So, but at the same time, the rewards are unbelievable, literally unbelievable. So, I believe I sent you a picture of Blaze. So Blaze is a pit bull
Yes.
that I ended up taking in. Uh, I was selling life insurance right after I came to Texas, and I had an appointment in this little village called Charlotte, about an hour away from where we live. And when I was there, this dog came up to our house, or came up to my car. He had flesh wounds all over his face. He'd been fighting. He's a street dog who was just fighting for
Mm.
survival, and really bad shape. And so I talked to some people there. They said that they thought he belonged to some house, but the guy didn't want him, so he left him to kind of fend for himself out in the streets, and nobody, all that. So I took him with me. My appointment stood me up, and so I took him with me and I took him home. So, sweetest dog. I didn't know what I was taking in, because I saw he had been fighting a lot. He was beat up, and I thought, the last thing I need is an aggressive male pit bull coming into the house. But oh
Hmm.
well. So we took him home, and he didn't settle in at first. We had to keep him separated, so we put him in one of our guest rooms. He tore down the blinds. He chewed up the
Wow.
walls. It was like a tornado, and he was actually not a crazy dog per se, but he had a reaction to being confined. So when we had him outside, he opened up padlocks. He got out 3 times from our house. It was like he couldn't wait to escape. Um, and so we had to be so careful with him. And then literally, I want to say 3, 4 weeks later, you saw the change in him,
Mm.
where he just completely 100% mellowed out, and he relaxed. And today, I think you couldn't pay him money to leave, if that was even a thing in the dog world. He's like, no, thank you, I'm good. And so it's like he realized, I have people now. I
Mm.
have people who care for me. I have somebody who wants me. This is a good place to be, and I like it here. And so he's safe, he's happy, he's warm in the like I said, sheltered from the elements, and again, warm in the winter, cool in the summer. He has food, he has love, he has attention. They get nose kisses for no reason, they get belly rubs for no reason. You walk through the house and you just keep your hands down to your side, and there's always something to pet, always somebody to pay attention to. and
Mm.
and so it's worth it. It's so worth it when you see that change in them, when they just fit in, and they have their place in the pack, and it's everything.
Mm. I feel like that just says a lot just about just what a sense of safety and a sense of
Hmm.
stability can do for animals. And I feel like honestly
Yes.
that does for all of us too. If we feel a sense of safety and stability, it makes all the difference in the world. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, it was a moment. He was a tornado when he came in, but but he settled. So, and
We need
he's so loved.
Lila, again, if they want to reach out to you, get involved in what you're doing, your mission, how can they reach out to you?
So they can reach us. They can follow us on Facebook at Paws Vegas Animal Rescue at Star Ranch. Our logo is a white logo with a red little bully breed dog in the middle of it all, and we have some stars and some paws on the logo. So that is us, and we post. I try to post almost daily. Some days when I'm working, I don't have time, but I just update on everything that goes on, just another day in the life. So. Sometimes it's cute posts, sometimes it's crazy posts, but it's just it is
Right.
definitely entertaining being and living in
Sure.
this house for sure. So that's where you can reach us, and if you ever want to support and donate, all the information is there as well, and we truly appreciate everything.
Absolutely. Well, Lila, you're going to have the final word here, so have at it. What would you like to close
Well,
out with?
I just want to thank everybody who's listening. I want to thank everyone who's supporting us. I want to just encourage everyone to try to make a difference. This is something that's very near and dear to me, and I'll try to keep it short. But if you can't save a dog, and if you can't take in a dog, there's so many other ways to help, right? So you can donate to a rescue, you can go volunteer at a rescue, you can drive for people who need transportation for dogs when they need to be moved from one place to another. There's so many ways to be involved. So just do something, and you'll be rewarded. It's very fulfilling. You don't have to
Beautiful.
be like us and have 26 dogs. So,
Oh, Lila, thank you so very much.
it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful.